But now we are seeing a new culture coming in beyond the barriers. People are now talking issues. It's like society is changing, but only in...
You mean on the ground?
On the ground. People are now like, that one doesn't say, our parliament has never said anything in parliament. Now people are taking attention to see what the legislator is saying. Has he ever said anything? There's that list that brings the worst performers and the best performers. People look out for their people to see, is his name there? Is her name there? We are not voting you back. Now there are issues that come in the country. Recently we have coffee, we have this, some bills. Now people are like, on which side do you stand? On
regarding that issue.
Regarding this issue.
Yes.
You're not going back. So there are things that are determining the choice of parliamentarians weird in Uganda now. Now, those who stand for the issues that impact on them directly, they want to know, where do you stand? But that's a minor issue. That's just one item. So the citizenry needs to be educated on what are the responsibilities of the councillor, of an MP.
Yes.
So that they know, of the mayor, so that they know. Because they don't know, there's a way they mix up all these things. Even people who are vying for parliamentarianship, they don't know the responsibility of a parliamentarian. They don't know how it works. They just assume.
Who has to do that check then?
Now, when they go inside, they get to understand, oh, Parliament works through committees, not as individuals. Oh, it is caucusing that works here.
Yes.
Oh, but then when you promise heaven and earth there on the people, and you cannot go back and tell them the truth because they'll throw you out next time. When the people tell us the truth of how it works there, we'll be voting differently. Do you know that? So they promise things that in actual sense don't happen there.
But the question then I have for you, Hassan, is it your belief that Ugandans don't know what a parliamentarian is supposed to do? Or we choose to pretend as if we don't, you know? Irrespective
of what you think they think, the most important thing is a Ugandan knows what he wants.
Okay.
When a Ugandan knows what he wants, it is what he expects to get.
Through which means?
Now, when they go in the chambers there, the bill is introduced. The script have to be in the interest of the ruling government, as per their manifesto, as per their program, which has got nothing to do with what you think.
Sometimes.
Your priority will be agriculture. The budget will come showing that agriculture is number 47th. Well knowing that we're an agricultural country. So in unison, you're supposed to kick this government out because it is not prioritizing what we think is a priority. That's why you see we're having a challenge now.
Based on fact?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, that's why you see now the youth are becoming a big challenge. Why? They know what they want. They are a bit enlightened. And they're aggressively acting assertively. And they are the majority. That's why you see now we're having running battles. When you watch the TV stations, you'll see the debates going on. You see some old guys and some young girls and boys, young boys out reasoning their parents on the panels, showing you that in actual sense, this is a different ball game. The way these young people reason now is far different from what the other older guys are, depending on the way they see things. Be honest to us. What are we going to do in Parliament? You see, we caucus, we do. Please, how are the youth, where is the vote for the youth in this budget? We want to see how our interests are catered for in this budget. The farmer, the health sector, transport, and technology. Let's go skilling and call it, you know. These people who are in Parliament themselves, majority of them don't know how to go over those things.
Greetings and welcome to Light Up UG, a platform where we get to discuss some themes, talk about our society. We usually talk about parenting and our responsibilities as parents, and then we exchange ideas and give feedback to you, share opinions on better parenting. Today, however, we will focus on a very interesting topic inspired by the fact that we are again in the electoral period where Uganda in 2026, early 2026, will go for the general national elections in our country. And usually that's when we get an opportunity to participate into the political process, choosing the president, choosing members of parliament, leaders at various levels, including districts, all the way to the village councils. And the reason why we are bringing this theme, which is an unusual theme in our space, is because our decisions reflect and inform the younger people in terms of what they should be doing and what influences the decision-making process. Take, for example, if we choose leaders and elect leaders, the young people should be able to understand why we make the decisions we make and how we participate in this political process. So, coming back to the key issue, Hassan, for me, a lot of people have been talking about the electoral process, and best of the current processes in Uganda right now, there is an interesting development that we have a lot of new political parties that are coming up. We have existing ones, and I think we are in that kind of get ready, set gear of how we are going to choose our leaders, who we are going to elect in parliament, the presidency, moving forward. But the key question I have, which I think is well deserving for us to talk about, is if I take my vote and I choose a candidate and I send them to government, send them to parliament, choose my president and the like, how does that influence my agenda as a citizen? How does that impact on the things that really matter to me? And those should be kind of the foundations upon which I say, this is the right person to send because this person can represent my interests. My experience has been that right now, if you look at the political dynamics that we have in Uganda, the narrative is more about the political party where you belong, the colors, the symbols, the interests, and that tends to be the narrative that influences how we make decisions. That I'll pick you, Hassan, because you belong to the new PPF party. Or I'll choose Mona because you belong to the NRM party. Or I'll choose Hanifa because she belongs to the National Unity Platform. Then we have FDC, UPC, the Democratic Party, we have the Federal Alliance. There are so many political parties. And for me, that falls so far away from key things like, what are the things that really matter to a Ugandan? A simple man somewhere in a district who goes on with their daily life and tries to make a living and the like, but they have things that really matter to them. Things that they think, if this issue was prioritized by government, it would really be important. And when I think about that particular one or two issues, and in particular for me personally, I always talk about principal development issues such as education and health, among others. But those are two, very, very important, which I think that they always matter to any citizen in this country. Such issues should transcend the colors, political theories and beliefs, development agendas of those political parties, okay? And they should be kind of like issues that are discussed are part of the Holy Grail. That at that point it doesn't really matter if I'm NRM, if I'm NUP, if I'm FDC, if I'm UPC. Meaning that as a citizen who is going to cast my vote, I should have the comfort in knowing that if I send someone from NRM, they are well aware that as a citizen, the citizen agenda in Uganda spells prioritize health and let it be the number one issue, which is covered and well attended to by the government of that day beyond 2026, right? And if I so happen to be lucky and I'm an FDC candidate, but I've been sent to parliament, I'm going to find the majority of my colleagues who are NRM, but we are going to talk about that one issue, which is the citizens' agenda. So that is the preamble I'm giving you, Hassan, that how do we ensure that Ugandans go to the polling stations in 2026, but they have these national issues that transcend the colors, they transcend the political parties. I'll end by telling you that when the late Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya, appeared on one of the TV interviews, I think on NBS, I don't know whether it was Perspective, I don't remember the title of the program. He said something and I fell in love with that. It struck a chord with me. He was asked by the interviewer that what do you intend to do that's going to be different from the parliament sessions that we've seen in the past? And this is what he said. He said, if I'm Speaker of Parliament, when I go to Parliament, I'm going to institute a practice where all parliamentarians who've been duly elected and sent to Parliament by citizens of Uganda put their political affiliations and parties and agendas aside, and we sit as parliamentarians every now and then and debate the key national priorities and issues for Ugandans, the things that Ugandans want to see improve and change. And those issues should be well and thoroughly debated, and we should find action points where we have a bipartisan agreement on how we are going to implement those issues. I think any government of the day beyond 2026, if it's NRM, President Museveni would really enjoy such an atmosphere where all parliamentarians are coming together in unison and they are saying that, Mr. President, Your Excellency, these are the 1-2 issues that Ugandans are saying are important to them. We've listened to them and we are bringing them and we want to implement them. I call that a win-win. But in this discourse and the way politics is right now in Uganda, I feel that we are so far away from that ball game, and instead we are talking colors and political affiliations. Your word.
Now, thank you very much. The absurd truth is that in Uganda we don't vote issues, which is very absurd. If we are voting issues, we'll be voting the real issues that impact on the society, on the Ugandan, from the affluent one to the poorest, deep down, the deep mwananchi farmer there in the village. But we don't vote issues. We vote excitement, we vote a bar of soap,
Waves.
a kilo of sugar, we vote the wave, we vote whatever it is, which is very wrong. Because we are in multi-party political dispensation, meaning that after all has been said and done and the government is formed, we are all supposed to go by what has been agreed on by the ruling, the winner.
The majority.
The majority, the winner. Now, it is upon this government which is leading what they put in their manifesto to be followed, and let them show us that what is in the manifesto is impacting on the common man like this, economically, socially, name it. How is it improving the well-being of this? Now, the biggest challenge you have right now is we have a surging number of youth.
Yeah.
Any Senate government would be making that priority. Now I'm a voter. We are the food basket of East Africa. We are. They don't want to accept, but we are. If you go to Congo, food comes from here to go to Congo, to Kenya, to Rwanda,
South
to
Sudan.
Tanzania, South Sudan. We are the food basket. Agriculture would be given a very huge priority. Our population is growing very drastically and at an astronomical speed. It means health should be given priority. We need education, an educated population.
Skilled.
So education should be done, given priority and changed and designed in such a way that it suits the needs, the current needs. I know in the AI era, yes, but the current needs. How do we merge this and that? The skilling and AI, and how do we do all that? Because if you have an educated population, there's so many things that you're going to overcome in terms of diseases, the people here and all that, you know. So this voter should be looking out for the government that is going to ensure that those things that impact on the whole community, on the whole society, on the whole nation, are put at the forefront, are not being extravagant, not being excessive in so many things. This voter doesn't know about that. It will be the wave, it will be the Mzee Agambi, it will be the Seya Agambi. You know how it's been. When Sebagala says, when the message has said, so and so says, and it is that. But at the end of the day, they begin feeling the pinch afterwards.
They, the citizens?
Yeah. We begin feeling the pinch and we have no one to demand, because those who come to seek for the vote promise heaven, and heaven, which is not even their jurisdiction. It's not even in their responsibility. I'll build for a school. This is a parliamentarian. A school. I'll build for a hospital. I'll build for you the roads. It's not your responsibility. Parliamentarians, society demands other things in our country. You have to go and attend burials. This, we shall not give him votes. Tazika. He doesn't bury. We shall not give him the vote. Yet you have substance in what you're going to do in Parliament.
One time there was a friend, a parliamentarian. She told me that, and I was just teasing, kind of we were talking, and I told her, maybe I should also consider to run, and she said, my son, never do that. Don't ever do that. Then of course she told me, let me give you just a simple rundown of what it means to be a parliamentarian. She said, as a parliamentarian in Uganda, every week you place orders for coffins. That was shocking for me, but it was true. And she said, you place orders for coffins, you have suppliers.
Okay.
You just call, please send that coffin to whatever. Told me then you have to buy tents and chairs.
Yeah.
Then she said
Public
you
address
have
system.
a school fees obligation
School
of
fees
so
obligation
many
of
children.
orphans and
yes.
widows.
Then she told me then you have an office that takes care of so many things. So she told me it's such a burden, you know. And then I realized, okay, this is a problem. So when you are talking, that's what kind of ran into my mind.
So they've narrowed the responsibility of the parliamentarian to those things, because it is the things that impact them on in their community, on the ground.
Yes.
You have to attend their burials, weddings, graduations, plus contributing. Tents have to be given there, chairs, public address systems. You have to pay school fees for some people. So,
but those are like day-to-day living struggles.
So at the end of the day, this man's responsibility is there.
Legislate, appropriate, oversight.
So people are selecting leaders for the wrong reasons. But now we are seeing a new culture coming in beyond the barriers. People are now talking issues. It's like society is changing. But only in...
You mean on the ground?
On the ground. People are now like, that one doesn't say, our parliament has never said anything in parliament. Now people are taking attention to see what the legislator is saying. Has he ever said anything? There's that list that brings the worst performers and the best performers. People look out for their people to see, is his name there? Is her name there? We are not voting you back. Now there are issues that come in the country. Recently we have is it coffee, we have this some bills. Now people are like, on which side do you stand on
regarding that issue?
Regarding this issue.
Yes.
You're not going back. So there are things that are determining the choice of parliamentarians weird in Uganda now. Now, those who stand for the issues that impact on them directly, they want to know, where do you stand? But that's a minor issue. That's just one item. So the citizenry needs to be educated on what are the responsibilities of the councillor, of an MP,
Yes.
so that they know, of the mayor, so that they know, because they don't know. There's a way they mix up all these things.
But there is something that I'm kind of, I feel as citizens, again, it's our responsibility. Sometimes when I look at politics in Uganda, I can't help to feel that it almost feels at times as if it's like a script, a written script, that it's a movie, and we are extras in this big, grand, epic movie. We come in as extras,
Props.
but they are main actors, there are all these other people who are pulling everything, and the directors and whatever. Really, a movie script. Now, my thinking is this. If I look at citizens in our country, number one, they know the issues that really impact on them. They know the few things that they would want to see change. Why is it that we as citizens don't see the opportunity and the need to change the narrative, so to say, change the script? And what do I mean by that? If you and I, Hassan, are friends, and we can influence a circle of 100 people around us, why is it we don't take the initiative, number one, to talk to our friends about what the role of a member of parliament is? That's number one. Number two, to kind of build an agreement and a narrative to say, if we were to send a member of parliament, what are the things that they would come and ask us that are important to us? Because I feel like members of parliament will go there, charm you with whatever they want to do, build roads and the like, which is not their responsibility in the first place. And then you leave excited, okay? As if you don't know. But as opposed to a member of parliament should come and say, in my experience, this is what I've seen, but I'm here to listen and understand what your needs are and take them. Based on what? Your character, your values, your experience, your reputation of what you've done so far. Even if you've not been in parliament, we can keep your track record and know. And then say, okay, if you go to parliament, this is what our key agenda should be. And what am I vying for in that? In this grand film, this grand script that's unveiling every other day, I'm thinking as citizens, we should be able to influence the citizens' agenda. And so that we can push for accountability on the part of any legislator who ends up in parliament. So that if me, from FDC, I go in parliament, I'm very sure that my fellow colleague who is coming from Ntenjeru North, an NRM person, is bringing the same citizens' agenda. I would love to see that which the late Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya, said, that I would love to see a house that has already agreed on the one or two priority citizens' agendas. Now, the government of the day will have its manifesto, and they would want to prioritize it and implement it. But even they, at that point, will know that when it comes to the citizens' agenda in this government that we are leading, these are the one or two issues. And that is what I would think can create a win-win. That is when I feel personal as a Ugandan that my vote would have counted for something.
You know the biggest challenge?
In that?
Even people who are vying for parliamentarianship, they don't know the responsibility of a parliamentarian. They don't know how it works. They just assume.
Who has to do that check then?
Now, when they go inside, they get to understand, oh, Parliament works through committees, not as individuals. Oh, it is caucusing that works here.
Yes.
Oh, but then when you promise heaven and earth there on the people, and you cannot go back and tell them the truth because they'll throw you out next time. When the people tell us the truth of how it works there, we'll be voting differently. Do you know that? So they promise things that in natural sense don't happen there.
But the question then I have for you, Hassan, is it your belief that Ugandans don't know what a parliamentarian is supposed to do? Or we choose to pretend as if we don't, you know?
Irrespective of what you think they think, the most important thing is a Ugandan knows what he wants.
Okay.
When a Ugandan knows what he wants, it is what he expects to get.
Through which means?
Now, when they go in the chambers there, the bill is introduced. The script have to be in the interest of the ruling government, as per their manifesto, as per their program, which has got nothing to do with what you think.
Sometimes.
Your priority will be agriculture. The budget will come showing that agriculture is number 47th. Well knowing that we're an agricultural country. So in unison, you're supposed to kick this government out because it is not prioritizing what we think is a priority. That's why you see we're having a challenge now.
Based on fact?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, that's why you see now the youth are becoming a big challenge. Why? They know what they want. They are a bit enlightened. And they're aggressively acting assertively. And they are the majority. That's why you see now we're having running battles. When you watch the TV stations, you'll see the debates going on. You see some old guys and some young girls and boys, young boys out reasoning their parents on the panels, showing you that in actual sense, this is a different ball game. The way these young people reason now is far different from what the other older guys are, depending on the way they see things. Be honest to us. What are we going to do in Parliament? You see, we caucus, we do. Please, how are the youth, where is the vote for the youth in this budget? We want to see how our interests are catered for in this budget. The farmer, the health sector, transport, and technology. Let's go skilling and call it, you know. These people who are in Parliament themselves, majority of them don't know how to go over those things. Why? People think they have not gone there to serve. They have gone to do a job and get paid. That's the biggest challenge. They have not gone to serve. No. As soon as they enter there, they begin serving a different master and getting paid. They care less about giving the interest of this person.
The question becomes, because the mandate, who gives the mandate? It's the voter.
Yeah.
So for me, the question then becomes, how do I ensure as a Ugandan that I'm well versed with this knowledge and understanding that regardless of who comes under which party, I'm going to vote the person with the highest possibility to represent me effectively?
In actual sense.
Because now the truth of what you've just
manifesto.
shared is saying, people will manipulate us in every way possible to end up in Parliament. And that is a selfish act. I just want to go there and be paid and enrich myself. That is okay. But now, I'm looking back at this poor citizen, me. How am I going to use this? Because for me, I'm one of those people who would say, vote, exercise that right, and you should select your leaders. Okay? How do I ensure that I'm going to resist all that?
It is the manifesto. It says
That
it all.
person, what they say.
The manifesto says it all.
Whose manifesto? The parliamentarian who is asking for my vote.
The manifesto he stands for or she stands for
Uh-huh.
will guide you on how to choose, whether you choose this person or not. In your manifesto, are you fighting corruption? Do I see the youth being prioritized? Agriculture, health?
Have you done enough research in the constituency you want to represent that when you talk about the issues in your manifesto, they are reflective of those needs that people have?
That's what the manifesto, if you tell me about corruption, corruption has no boundaries. It hits from the top to the bottom.
Yes.
In actual sense, corruption highly impacts on what you get on the ground.
Yes.
If the priority has been given to agriculture in your manifesto, it will impact us as farmers in this area, as a country.
Yes.
If health is the thing, of course you know what it means. The manifesto will tell the whole story, whether you choose to take this government or not. These members of parliament should come with the manifesto of the parties they're standing for, and we scrutinize the manifesto so that we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. You promise ABCD. Have you delivered? No. Don't get out of my way.
Okay. My only voice on this matter is going to be this. We can no longer afford as Ugandans to go to polls with excitement as our currency. That's not going to work. We can't go to the votes just because we pick people based on their colors, the colors of the party and what they represent. That's not good enough. I'm not saying we shouldn't respect these symbols or these institutions or the political parties. Indeed, we should. But look, take keen interest in this person who wants to represent your views, your interest. Number one, also as a voter, try as much as possible and inform yourself. You cannot tell government or the person you're sending to parliament that I want you to improve health when you know nothing about the current Uganda health budget. That's not science. The facts are there, the figures are there. Have an indication or an idea about what it is that you're asking. When you're talking about improvement in health, talk about it from an informed point of view, even at your level. Speak of your context of the local health center where you go and inform the person who is vying for your vote so that they understand exactly what you're saying. Number two, when you talk about education, be in a position to talk about the current standards of education, the development agenda that's ongoing, the revamping of education system in Uganda, and then on top of that, ask exactly what it is that you want to see happen at the end of the day. My message, or our message, me and Hassan, to you is this. As a voter, choose the person who will best represent you, a person who will look beyond the political parties and the colors and be able to coalesce, be able to work as a party to the ruling government, as a person who can go there and build a bipartisan agenda so that that agenda speaks of the citizens' agenda, it speaks of your issues. Then at the end of the day, it won't matter what colors end up in parliament, what political parties end up in parliament. If you can get a person right there who can negotiate with their peers in parliament, then we can have an agenda that speaks of us as Ugandans. That's the agenda that should speak to the central government. At the end of the day, our voices will be heard, and hopefully the government will see that the parliament that they are working with, that legislates and appropriates, looks into the actual citizens' agenda and looks at our issues. That then would make your vote count for something. So excitement, people giving us money, bread, and all these other things, we don't have to look into that. We owe it to ourselves to make our vote count. And that would be our take on this issue. Thanks for watching. Till next time.